All right. So my name is Leko Adigo, and this is the second cohort, of our mentorship program. This is the second cohort. The first cohort was last year, and we're having the second cohort, and I'm glad that quite a number of us are part of this cohort. I want to say a few things, and I always say this before we start the program. Why is this mentorship important? It is not important because it is me or because I know better than everybody. No, that's not it. The difference between this mentorship and any other education mentorship we could come across is just experience. And what I mean by that is I'll be sharing personal experiences so that the things we discuss here are practical, and I'll do my best. For those who were part of the first cohort, if you know anybody, they will tell you. I'll be sharing personal experiences, you know, and the goal of this is to network. I must tell you that the goal of this is to network. There are people who were part of the first cohort and they could, share some of the things they gained. This also gives access to trainings and then access to job placement. I can say that confidently, because there are persons around us who have benefited from such. Okay, so let me reiterate again that I don't know everything. And by that, what I mean is I'm confident that, everybody here would learn and it won't, you would know that it's not a waste of your time. Okay, but the beauty of this is that I'll be sharing experiences and giving practical examples. I'll do my best not to hold back at all, so that we can all benefit from this program. Okay, so what do we expect? Number one, this is a 13-week mentorship program. Um, we should have started on the 3rd of January, but because some persons, we wanted more persons to join us and we wanted to offer, people time, to be able to pay up and all, and that's why we had to move it to today. Okay. So technically, we're starting officially today and the mentorship program will end on the 2nd of May. So first Saturday of May will be the last session of the mentorship program. And we always end the last session with, you know, with an educator influencer spotlight. For cohort one, we had Olasukomi Okwefa, and it was a wonderful experience. Maybe along the line, I'll play highlights of some of the sessions for us. Okay. And this cohort promises to give much more even than the first cohort. So this is a 13-week program. It's running from today, January 31st to May 2nd this year. It's a virtual meeting, and then it's always first and third Saturday every month till the first Saturday of May. And we gather by 1 p.m. The platform is Zoom, and every session would be recorded. Okay, so let's do a quick rundown. Yeah, this is orientation. I want to take us through the module, that we would be learning from. Okay, so that we know what to expect. We have more than 5 modules, and we'll be going through each one, every contact. And so for the next contact, which is the first Saturday of February, we'll be going through module one. So module one focuses on the foundation of an educator. Okay, the foundation of an educator. And this is very important because it's like if the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable. And what I mean by that is if you don't even know your identity, if you don't know who you are as an educator, you really even might not be able to know how to optimize your calling as an educator. And many times when I say calling, I don't mean it the way people out there mean it. Most of the time when people talk about calling in education, over time, it's in a bid to to cheat the educator. They want to tell you that it's your calling, so you shouldn't expect any form of gratification. And teaching is a calling. It's God that will reward you. No, you know. if teaching is a calling, then every other profession is equally a calling. Okay. And the fact that something is a calling, does not mean that the called or the individual in the calling, shouldn't be happy in it in all ramifications. So we need to consider, we would consider the foundation of an educator. We would look closely at identity, who an educator is, you know, and then what are the objectives of an educator? Why are we even educators? And then we will look at practice. Okay. And this is very important because there are times, many times, the things you do in the classroom in education leadership oftentimes stems from who you are. And many times, who we are as educators take a cue from who we are as a person. Okay. And so when we become educators, it is our personality that comes in contact with professional training and then who then, becomes, who we are and what we do in the classroom. So we would try to understand the bridge, the connection between our personality and our practice as educators. All right. Module two, module two will focus on the art and science of lesson engagement. Very important. The art and science of lesson engagement. And this is very, very important. In all the schools where I've worked, and at every point when I've had the opportunity to transition to move from one school to another, I have seen that what I have learned, if you ask me what I've really learned in a little over a decade of being an educator, I can tell you that one of the things I've learned deeply, profoundly, to a great extent, is the science of lesson engagement. What determines, you know, student agency is the extent to which, as an educator, you understand the science behind lesson engagement. And we'll be looking at that, how to start engaging starters, how to use multimodal, media in our classrooms, online. We would also look at, teaching strategies, and a lot of other things. Now, I want us to take a pause and I would like us to introduce ourselves. Okay. I'd like us to introduce ourselves. Let me start with the lady, I believe. Yes, and here we address ourselves by our first name. Okay, I just really want us to pay attention to that. And this is deliberate. This is because, um, you know, in the workplace, there are no there are no seniority. So what I mean by that is what we have in the workplace is we've got ranks and levels. But we necessarily do not have seniority. And I want everybody to be comfortable. I want us to feel like colleagues. Um, if we would address, yes, you could say, oh, Miss, Mrs., and why not, if we are comfortable with that. But it is not a crime on this platform to address ourselves by our first name. So please feel free to call me Lekon. You don't have to attach Mr. to it. I would also feel free to call you by your first name. And if I choose, I could also attach some title to your name. Yes. So, Mrs. Alalade, let me start with Mrs. Alalade. Could you introduce yourself, please? Just tell us who you are, and the things you are comfortable with us knowing about you. I think that's what all that matters. So share with us who you are to the extent to which you are comfortable. Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. My name is Irijuoluwa Alalade. Um, I'm a science teacher, though I enjoy teaching mathematics more, but I teach biology majorly and I love to teach mathematics. So I teach mathematics online majorly. I teach, but that's what I do online.
Okay.
But for the regular teaching, teach biology. So
Oh, okay.
thank you.
So you're a full-time teacher, ma. That's what you're saying.
Hello,
Yes, I said so you're a full-time teacher.
are you okay with that?
Yes, 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 yes. So that means you're a full-time teacher. That's what I mean. You're a full-time teacher, like you're a teacher.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
thank you. Thank
I'm
you
a
so
teacher.
much. Thank you
A
so much.
classroom teacher.
Yeah, I just want to be sure that, that
Offline
we
and
have teacher
online.
offline and online. I like that. I like that. All right, so could you tell us what you expect? What is that one thing that is priority to you here? what is that one thing that even if you don't gain any other thing, what is that one thing you look forward to getting, to learning here?
Well, I look forward to being updated
Okay.
about what's going on as per curriculum. And the world is seriously evolving,
Mm,
having to teach Gen Zs.
mm,
So getting updated and being able to really come understand them better to
mm,
so as to make my teachings more impactful, then
mm,
connecting with like-minded educators.
mm,
Yes,
mm,
that connect is very, very important.
mm. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, if I heard you correctly, you are looking forward to, to updating your knowledge, most especially your knowledge of curriculum, and you're also looking forward to networking, and that networking is very great. I'll share something that happened recently. Um, by God's grace, we have access to some schools and all of that. So recently, that was last year, December, one of the leading schools, one of the international schools in Lagos, um, you know, reached out. My friend just called and said, oh, they needed teachers. No, they needed a head of secondary, because their head of secondary left, resigned, and went elsewhere. People are really potent, people are moving, and they needed a head of secondary for their school and all that. So, and then what I do is, I have friends, I also have communities like this. And if I've related with people and I can vouch, because many times you just don't recommend anybody, because if the person misbehave, the misconduct can ruin the relationship, that God has helped us to build with some of these places. So they reached out and all of that, and I just so there's someone we once worked together, and a woman, and so the so we let me put it that way. So we presented two people, a woman and a man, very sound people, and I know them. We've once worked together, presented them and all of that, hoping that at least, one of them would get the job, and then did some prepping, because if you've been in the industry for a while, you have an idea, of of how to get, some positions, because you have an idea of some questions, the questions they would ask, what the best answer looks like or better answer looks like and all that. And by God's grace, they were prepped and all of that. The school was looking for one person. Eventually, the school reached out and and said that they can't just employ one of them, that they are taking the two of them, because the two just gave them very great answers and they felt that they had just gotten what they wanted. So you know what the school did? The school decided to pick the woman as the head of secondary and pick the man as the director of studies, like curriculum director. And none of them got a salary less than 1.7 million naira. Okay, now these were people who, as at December, all of this happened, I think, the third week of December. Now, these two individuals did not have to leave their city. They did not even step foot at the school. They've not been there yet. They did not even step a foot at the school. Everything they did was virtual, but he worked based on recommendation, you know, and today, n none of them is earning less than 1.7 million every month. The offer came with a fully furnished duplex, like for each of them. Okay. And, I'm saying this because, because, one of us here mentioned networking. Networking is important. Now, I'm not saying that networking is magic. It's not magic. It's not magic. There are processes. Okay. But networking here is important. If it's not working today, it doesn't mean it won't work tomorrow. By God's grace, we've seen these things work. We've had placement. I know a very close friend of mine who is currently in a school in Lagos, because by God's grace, we just referred. He spoke to me about, oh, he applied to the school and all of that. And he said, he didn't hear anything, no. And I said, the VP Pastora is my friend. Don't worry, send your CV to me. I'll send it to her. And then I sent the CV, spoke to her, and she said, oh, why not? Why the HR did not even shortlist him, I don't know. But I sent it to the VP Pastora, one of the schools, leading schools, well-paying schools in Lagos, I must say. And, you know, the VP Pastora went, they invited him for micro teaching. Now he's currently in the school. His net is not less than 650,000. His net is not less than 650,000 with other benefits. So what I'm trying to say is networking is key, and these things are possible. Very, 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 very possible. Okay. Um, let's move on. Oh, okay. I was about to call Oladoyin, but I guess the person has left. Okay, so module two will be focused on the science of lesson engagement because transiting from one school to another, I have seen with experience that what makes a teacher stand out is their understanding of the science behind what makes an engaging lesson. What makes an engaging lesson? And this is actually very important. This is something we need to understand because at interviews, I've personally realized that what makes the difference many times are, you know, what makes the difference is our understanding, our understanding. That is actually what makes the difference, our understanding. And that's one of the things that we'll be learning here, learning on this platform. All right. So that's for module two. Module three is we'll be looking at employability, employability. And this is very important. I This year makes it my 12th year in the classroom. And in those 12 years, by God's grace, I've worked in 5 schools. So this is my school number 5. Um, and by the grace of God, it's becoming school number 6 in a matter of weeks by God's grace. So so what I'm trying to say is one of the things we would also talk about on this platform, is opportunities. How can we position ourselves in a way that we are employable? Now, not just employable, we become a wide, well sought after educator. These things are possible. Okay. And so we will be looking at the skills that increase our employability. Okay. We would also be discussing how to prepare for standard interviews. There are interviews and there are interviews. You know, I was privy to one recently, and some of the questions that 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 came forth, you would just know that their interviews, their interviews, and we've got to be prepared, you know, for all of this, all of this. We would also look at what are the expectations of international school, and the focus of this mentorship is to build in us, okay, to at the end of this mentorship, the plan is to make every attendee an internationally minded educator, and not just internationally minded, an educator on this platform that can fit into any international setting anywhere in the world. And this is possible. I can say this from experience. This is very possible. All right. We would also, guide us through interviews. And what this means is even when this mentorship ends, okay, the communication continues. The WhatsApp group for cohort one is still very much active by God's grace. So this is not a one-off, okay? This gives almost like access, until everybody is fine, by the grace of God. All right. So module three will focus on employability, what to look for in international schools, how to prepare for international school interviews, and then what would, a top tier international school, what would they expect from you? And then how do you, you know, give them, how do you meet their expectations? All right. Module four would look at crafting a global teaching profile. And this is very important. So the essence of module four is to help us to beef up our social media appearance. Now, social media appearance is one thing. Educator profile is another thing. And what I mean by that is social media appearance is one thing. Our portfolio as educators is another thing. We must develop a culture where we build and create our portfolio. So what I mean is, do you have a website? Do you have a link that when somebody clicks, they see who you are? They see how you teach. There's an introductory video of you. So these are some of the things that we would be talking about because this is important. These are the things that beef up, our image, and make us more employable. And beyond employability, these are the things that make us um flourishing educators. And the goal of this mentorship program isn't just to give us information, relevant to education, employability, and all of that. The goal of this mentorship program is to also boost our confidence, to give us an understanding of who we are and who we should be, the kind of educators we should be. Okay, so we'll be looking at how to design, a professional resume that stands out. We'll be looking at, how to build a teaching portfolio, with evidence. I'll be sharing some examples with us. We would also consider global expectations, and standards. What should your portfolio look like? Okay. And then how do you position yourself for opportunities? It's not every time that you're the one reaching out. There are times that it's schools, it's organizations that are reaching out to you, asking if you would like, you know, to be a part of their institution. All right. Um, then module five. Module five is online visibility. Okay, so portfolio is one thing. How do we harness our social media? Okay, how do we harness our social media platform to speak education? I always say this that the teacher that would thrive, in this 21st century is not the teacher who is jack of all trade. And I'm going to repeat that. You can't be a jack of all trade and you will thrive. No. I always say this, if I'm to employ somebody or if I'm to take any teacher serious, or if maybe I want to get you as an online tutor for maybe my family, my nephew or niece or whatever, okay, and I go to your page and I see that you're a teacher, but I also see that at the same time you are selling food, at the same time you are selling wares, at the same time you're just doing a lot of things. I'll never contact that person because what that communicates to me is this person is just trying to survive. This person is not really an educator. And I'm not saying we can't have our side also. No, that's not what I'm saying. We can. But I want us to ensure that if we really mean to succeed through education, which is possible, I've seen some things and I can say categorically, yes, yes, we can succeed. God can bless us through this profession. If that is our goal, then we have to be consistent. Everything about us must speak education. Our social media platforms must speak education. It mustn't speak education and several other things. It won't give us the right, it won't give people the right impression. So we would look at how to achieve online visibility and would also look at professional development. We must be visible online. What are ways by which we can be visible online so that we can attract? And this is important, especially for those who intend, to really have a boom in online teaching. I shared with the last cohort that online teaching is way beyond what we think. And I shared with the last cohort that I've made nothing less than 2.4 million teaching online. Actually, to be modest, I've made nothing less than 2.4 million in 1 month teaching online. So, but this online teaching, these are not things that just comes. These are things many times that comes from visibility. They just know that, oh, this is what this person does. And then people just begin to reach out. Success stories begin to attract more clients. Okay, so we in module 5 we will talk about two things. We'll talk about how can we be visible online so that we can drive traffic to ourselves, okay, and get more online jobs or more employment opportunities. And then what are the professional development courses we can do? Because I must say that for those who are active teachers, I mean, you're active in the classroom, I must say that many times your remuneration is determined by your professional development. There are certifications that they will see on your CV and they will offer you some amount. By God's grace, we still had that experience, recently. So there are certifications that will appear on your CV and no employer would be offering you, some amount. They just know because they also understand the value of such certification. And many of the certifications are professional investment. If you don't invest in them, you really might never experience significant upward mobility. And, you know, you know, I am a strong advocate of professional development, and I'm equally a strong campaigner for comfortability for teachers. I don't believe that a teacher's reward is in heaven. No. If a banker's reward is not in heaven, if a doctor's reward is not in heaven, then definitely the teacher's reward cannot be in heaven. We'll be rewarded according to the things we do on earth and our faith. But when it comes to profession, your profession should reward you here on earth. Okay. And so in module 5, we would look at what are the professional development courses we can do relevant to our various subjects. We would discuss them across curriculum, I mean across curricula, and then we would link them to upward mobility in our profession and also talk about how can we achieve visibility online because visibility is actually is what triggers referrals and this is very, very important. Okay. Um, for module 6, we'll be looking at online teaching. And the aspect of online teaching we'll be looking at pricing. I often tell people this that I teach online and I always insist on advance payment. I teach online and I always insist on advance payment. And I must say that so far, if I remember correctly, it is only two of my clients that pay at the end of the month. Every other person pays in advance, and those two clients are long existing clients and they are, very comfortable. One of them owns a company, he's a Lebanese, he's comfortable. As soon as I just send him his bill at the end of the month, he pays the money. There's no argument. He's even too busy to be checking, and the other client is in the Netherlands. These are people that I've worked with over the years and there are no arguments and all of that. We know, we've like there's mutual respect, and those are two people, that pay me at the end of the month. Every other person, if you want me to teach you for 30 hours, it is when you pay. And why is it so? It's because my time, by God's grace, is my time, the schedule, everything is booked. So if you don't pay, only those two people are the ones that have automatic slots. If you don't pay, there's no guarantee. If somebody else comes and pays before you, that time, that hour is gone. and my clients are aware of that, so they pay. So we would talk about that. We would also talk about, and this is very, we would also even talk more. Why should you charge in advance? I'll talk about that. And when should you do that? Would I advise that for a beginner? No, I would never. If, a person is just starting, I would never advise that for a beginner. But why should you insist on advance payment? Why should you transition to advance payment as you move on? It also because, for example, I have Zoom. I have my monthly Zoom subscription. There's a date every month when Zoom, this meeting is recorded because I have my Zoom subscription. There's a date every month that Zoom, you know, deduct the subscription cost from my account. I have an account for all of my subscriptions. So I have subscriptions, that are deducted every month. So I have a separate account for that. So when I insist on advance payment, I have my reasons. It's because I have active subscription. So I can't afford to be waiting till end of the month because there are different dates on the calendar. And these are platforms that I use. For example, I use Zoom and I use Google Meet. I use those two platforms. Why? Because I'll give us as an example. For for those that teach students outside Nigeria, if you're teaching a student in the UK or in the US and the student has a Gmail account, if their Gmail account is not a personal Gmail account, if it is their own school Gmail account, the school many times deactivates the account from accessing other internet infrastructure outside of the school online infrastructure. So if you're teaching a student in the UK, in Canada, or the US, and their Gmail account is from the school, they might never be able, okay, to access your online platforms. Okay, so for such students, I use Gmail because they might never be able to access Zoom. All right. But there are other students, okay, that my Google Meet is okay for. They can access it. There are even students that don't have Gmail accounts. Okay. There are students that do not have Gmail account. Okay. And because they don't have Gmail account, they might never be able to access your Google Meet. For such students, for such students, you have to use Zoom. So for someone like me who teaches actively online by God's grace, I have two accounts. I use Zoom, which I'm using now, and I use Google Meet. So I've got my monthly subscription. There are different dates in the month that those different platforms deduct money from my account. I have an account designated for all of my subscription platforms. Okay, so if you don't insist on advance payment, you might never be able to optimize, the platforms, your subscriptions, and the continuity. What would determine whether your clients will continue with you, or 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 there'll be more referrals, is the quality of your online sessions. Okay, so if you don't have, systems that you've put in place, okay, your clients can begin to complain. And they won't know that why they are complaining is because you're not really getting money in advance, especially for those who don't have a wide stream of income. I mean, multiple streams of income. You know what I mean. So, so these are some of the things I will discuss here. I would also share with you some of the platforms I use, some of the tools. So that's why I said the strength of this mentorship is, my experiences and knowledge primarily. That is what I'm sharing, you know. And as we go on, we will realize these things and all. So yes, so I think that someone is in. Um, yes. All right. So Mr. Doing, I think I'm correct. Um, please can you introduce yourself? So just tell us your name, tell us who you are, share with us whether you're an active teacher in the classroom, then share with us the things you want us to know about you, the extent to which you are comfortable with sharing, and then tell us one key thing you are looking forward to in this mentorship program. Yes, please. Over to you.
All right, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Pleased to be here. Sorry for joining in late. My
It's
name is
fine.
Ola. I'm Oladoyin Shobanke, and I am a teacher. Actually, I'm a teaching assistant with American Christian Academy, but I am also an ESL math teacher. So I work with students that have English as their second language of instruction, to bring about understanding to concepts they did not understand in the general class. So my teaching aspect is not under the spectrum of the general class, but under the spectrum of the ESL department, where I teach children that have language difficulty. Um, I'm also a resilience coach, and I'm a gospel film actor. I'm an proper education. All these my skills are scooped under the skills and the passion for education. Because while in my school too, I raise the drama team. I coordinate the drama team for our yearly production. That's basic. So one thing I'm looking out for, trusting God for in this program, I have seen curriculum. I have heard about curriculum back from my school days. I've seen people that were in curriculum planning as a sub course. People are doing this, and I've been hearing curriculum. I know curriculum, but I don't know how curriculum is. I don't know what curriculum is. I just know that some people design curriculum and give us to teach. And then, so one of the things I'm looking to learn in these sessions or in this training is to become a curriculum expert myself, to whereby I can be able to bring a change to the what I see or what I call the wrong perspective or wrong context of education in Nigeria, where people see education as a means, as a money making adventure or avenue, where
Mm.
everything in our education is only tied towards how you get the job, how you get the best grades and have money, but not towards adjustment and self-actualization, which is the
Mm.
goal of learning. So I want to learn curriculum, become a curriculum expert, so that I can be able to fill that gap in curriculum, where things that can raise a whole round learner can be imputed in our curriculum context, and not just to wear a white collar and get job and be in the society. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was very comprehensive. Thank you for sharing. And thank you for doing that with clarity, I must say. Thank you. Yeah, so definitely, we will talk about curriculum. You would learn about curriculum. Um, the good thing, okay, the irony of of this is that, you know, curriculum is actually at the curriculum is at the core of education, actually. Unfortunately, curriculum has been de-emphasized in the education space in Nigeria. When we say curriculum, it's only international schools. And when I say international schools, I mean top tier international schools. Those are the ones that seem to be intentional about curriculum. Um, Most schools, even so-called international schools, are not intentional. So when I say international schools are the ones intentional, I'm not even talking about just international schools. I'm saying there are top tier international schools. Those are the ones that by experience I have seen that are really intentional about curriculum. And that's one thing that we'll be learning here. And and that's why this is called, you know, Curriculum Connect Academy for Educators. Because by experience, I've also seen that your expertise as a teacher must also cut across curricula. This is very important. I've seen at interviews how uh you know potential employers can be wowed by your curricular expertise. And I've seen that it's just at the core because what makes a school is curriculum. The moment you take curriculum out of a school, there's no justification for an institution of learning. Curriculum makes a school. Other things does, but curriculum is at the roots of education. Okay, and we will talk about that as we proceed. So module 6 will focus on online teaching. And for me, online teaching will focus more on three strands. how to get money, because it's very important, I must say, because online teaching has become a viable stream of income. And I must say, people are cashing out big, big time. People are cashing out big time, you know, and so it's a it's a stream of income that we must pay attention to. So we'll be looking at wealth, online teaching wealth. Would also be looking at the tools, because it's the tools that will make them keep coming. The dexterity with which you can know everything, but if you don't use the right tools, your lessons will not be engaging, and parents won't think you are worth what you collect. I'll give an example. My online classes, they are not less than 25,000 per hour. If I would teach you for 60 minutes, you'll pay 25,000 naira per hour. Um, I have individuals that, if you're insisting that I must come, I've had a client who is insisting that I must come to, a different state very close by to me. And I had to tell the person, well, if you don't want to do online and you are just comfortable with physical, you must be ready to pay 40,000 per hour. And these are individuals that are willing to pay it. And most times it can get to a point where you're asking yourself, am I willing to do that distance? And these are individuals that are saying, yes, it's not just 1 hour. At least when you come, you are doing nothing less than 2, 3 hours. So by the time, so I'm just trying to say that, and I'm not saying that somebody has all the money in the world. Please, oh, I'm not saying that. If we have an idea, I do a conference of teachers every year. So I have two coppers. I get coppers from the federal government. I have two coppers currently that I'm paying every month, because we have an NGO and all of that. So, you know, they are ground like their monthly expenditure. You can't, if I start breaking these things down, you would almost think it's a lie, but so I'm just trying to say that. So these are reasons why eh, we can't afford, you know, online teaching is a viable stream of income. It is viable now. It is now viable. I've seen, a friend of mine is slightly older than me, but a friend of mine, was just recently telling me some weeks ago, and he still repeated it last week. He wants to quit his full-time teaching job. He wants to quit it for online, you know. He wants to quit it for online, because he's already working online for his school. He's got clients. Okay, and so so that's why we also have to look at, you know, online teaching. And this is very important. I'm a strong advocate, you know, of education wealth. I you as a teacher, you can be comfortable. As a teacher, you can be comfortable. I can say that categorically. As a teacher, you can be comfortable, you know. As a teacher, you can teach and you are not admiring anybody else. You are inspired by what other people do. You can be challenged by what they achieve, what they do, but you are not envying them. And you're a teacher. That is possible. I have seen that. By the grace of God, I've seen that. So these are some of the things that that I intend to share with us. Yeah. So we've got Rukaya. Am I correct? Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Yes.
Although you came in a bit late, but I understand that people have different schedule and all that. Please, so we were introducing ourselves. Anybody that comes in introduces themselves. So please tell us your name, tell us who you are. Are you actively in the classroom? Tell us what you do. Share with us the information share with us pieces of information you are comfortable sharing. Okay. My name is Leko Andigun. This is the second cohort of the mentorship. So just share with us the pieces of information, the extent to which you are comfortable sharing, and then tell us what is your priority here. So by that, even if you don't gain anything, what is that one thing you intend to walk away with, you know, from this mentorship program? Yes, over to you, please.
All right. My name is Ahmed Rukaya.
I am a year four teacher, a physical year four teacher. Yes, so still in class.
Okay.
So being here is an opportunity for me actually. I heard from a friend. So because for somebody like me, I am still looking for like an opportunity for growth
Mm,
because yeah, I any opportunity I see like oh this I think if I join this that like it will add to what I already have with
mm,
me. So I won't hesitate to join. So
mm.
that's exactly my reason here. So and I hope to get more from this class, more than my expectation actually.
Yeah, okay. Okay. All
So
right.
um I think basically that's what I have here
So
right
what is
now.
that one
Thank you.
thing that even if you don't gain anything, that one thing you must walk away with? If you don't walk away with it, you will probably sue all of us. Not only me, oh, you sue every other participant.
I would say that actually I didn't meet all the other module,
Okay.
so I don't know. Yes, so but from this, I'll say yes. I want to be this teacher can that can be independent. Yes,
Mm,
because sometimes I look at myself, I will like, for how long will somebody continue to do this and do that? Do you understand? And you know, when sometimes when you're putting in the effort and you find out that you are still not on the right track.
mm,
So I mean, yes. So exactly the employability skill, the what's this one? Yes, the employability skills. Yes, the upskill for in order for me to become um um recognizable yes in the classroom, yes, in my place of work.
mm,
So like I said earlier, anything meaningful that can benefit. Okay,
mm.
then I think probably if I go through this slide, I would be able to
Yeah, so the session is
um
actually recorded. Okay.
say
Yes, the session is
okay,
recorded, so I'll share the
yeah,
link immediately after the session. Thank you, Rukayat. For me, so I have to
okay,
be honest,
all
you
right,
spoke very naturally, and I think you spoke from your heart, and I think that's very admirable. You spoke from your heart, like you told us what is on your mind. And Rukaya, let me say this. By the way, on this platform, we address ourselves by our first name. If you're not comfortable with that, you can add Mr. or Mrs. That's your choice. But when we call ourselves by our first name, it's not a crime on this platform. Because this is we want everybody to
yes,
be
I do.
comfortable. Okay, thank you. So, when you were speaking, you made a statement, and I think I should just touch on that quickly. Um, you said that you're just looking forward to just being better because there are times you ask yourself, like, is this what you're going to do, continue doing, and all of that. I understand that, and I must say one of the reasons why this mentorship has been, inaugurated and why this could have been free. So I must say, when and this whole mentorship thing came from demand, people demanding, chatting me up and saying please, and that was how this came up. But why we're paying, not as though we can't make it free for people, by God's grace, we organize a conference of teachers every year. We've organized now for 2 years, and no single teacher pays. Nobody pays 1 naira. And I will play the videos of the conference so that you know that it is not just a parlor size kind of thing. Last year we spent a lot, I must tell you. Last year we spent a lot. So I'll give you an example. When you're doing a teacher conference and on on decoration only, decoration only, like you're spending like decoration only. Like your expenditure for decoration only. Can we hear me? Hello?
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay, good.
And here you were
So,
kind of
yes, good.
breaking.
Oh,
Yes, ma'am.
sorry. Um, so, so we do a teacher conference and all that, and no single teacher pays. I don't want to give further details on expenditure so that I don't sound ostentatious. But I'm just trying to say that so it's not that we can't do some of these things for free, but when it comes to mentorship, we've got to be consistent. And many times our heart is not where our money is not. So and that's why, this involves money, I must say. That's the reason. So that there's more commitment, even if you don't show up for whatever reason, at least you know that you will watch the video and there'll be certificates after this. So you were talking about, oh, is this what you would do and all of that? And I must say, Rukaya, there's money in education. I've been saying that for a while now, and I will keep saying it because this is something I've realized. We can be educators and we won't envy. You won't even be able to remember the last time you envied someone. It's not because you have a private jet. No. It's not because you drive a G-Wagon, but just because God provides for your needs, okay? Like through the job you do. Okay. But I've also found out that the solution to that is professional development. And that's one of the things we will be talking about. So one of the modules addresses that. That's module 5. Professional development is key because if we don't develop ourselves professionally, we might never be able to attract the kind of financial mobility we desire. Then visibility also. Professional development is one thing. Visibility is another thing. If we want money from education, we must be ready to put ourselves out because people put value on what they know. Whatever they don't know, they are not like whatever you don't know, you won't value it. It's the things we know that we value. So that's also why an educator must learn to be visible, and those are two things we will talk about in module 5. And then when it then comes to online teaching, we will also talk about that in module 6. And this is a part I spend some time talking about because this is the part that creates a stream, like a different stream of income for educators. And online teaching is key now. Online teaching is like the web gold for teachers now. A lot of teachers are making money. Before you joined, I just mentioned that, I've made a minimum of 2.4 million from online teaching in a single month before. I don't want to give further details. So that's why I said that the essence of this mentorship program is not because I know better than anybody. No. The uniqueness is just that I'm sharing from my personal experience. I've gained more experience. I've been way better, you know, from the first, yes, so it's God, though, from the first. So, but there are things we must do. There are things we must know. There's a way we must be positioned, to attract these things. And I can tell you, and I can tell everybody here that if we are consistent as educators, frankly speaking, you know, we would not have to be desiring to do something else, honestly. Instead, we would just be evolving. It's the same education, but you're just evolving and you're just breaking new grounds in the profession. Okay. Um, After module 6, okay, module 6 is always the last academic module. Okay. The last thing we then do is educator spotlight. For cohort 1, we had the the multi-award winning Olasukomi Okwefa. It was the one we had for cohort 1, and for cohort 2, we'll be having a different person, and the essence is, if you meet someone who's an educator like yourself, or who has gone ahead of you, who seem to be doing better, it can be inspiring. It can inspire you. And so this is what we end with. This is always the last session. And the essence is to be inspired and also to gain knowledge. It's like a Q&A. We just meet the person. We ask any question from the person, and then the person shares with us from their experiences, how they rose, how they became who they are now, and all of that. And that's always the last session. That's always like the last thing we do. That's like how we wrap up, the mentorship program. And I must say that the mentorship continues even when the program ends. And this is very important. The fact that you are part of this, gives you access to the convener, I mean, professionally for, questions and all that. And also, depending on the relationship we've built with other participants, also gives you access, to other participants. So we will be having 6 modules and we'll be having one educator spotlight session. So that means nothing less than 7 contacts in 3 months. All right. Now, what are expectations? What are the things we expect from participants? And this is very important. Very, very important. So I expect a level of commitment. The sessions are recorded. Okay. Um, yes, so yes, 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 yeah. So the sessions are actually recorded, but because the sessions are recorded, is not an excuse to miss the sessions, and will be stricter this time around. So the moment somebody has missed 3 sessions, then the person will not get a certificate. And this is very important. This is very important. The moment you miss 3 sessions consecutively, you won't be getting a certificate. The reason is because why we are recording, the recording is not done so that we can miss sessions. No, that's not the essence. The recording is done so that we can go over what we have learned, you know, because we are teachers. We also know that learning can be repetitive, so that we can retain information. So that's why the sessions are recorded. Okay, so I expect commitment to attending sessions. So I expect commitment to attendance, very important. So that is why it is just twice every month. It's not every weekend. It's just first weekend and third weekend of every month. We can clear up our schedule. I also understand that, there are times that some things come up, but things should not always come up. The moment things keep coming up, then it's more like we didn't prepare for this. And this is the only session that we are having outside the first and third. So from the very beginning, it's clear that it's just first and third. Those are the 2 sessions we'll be having every month. And then I also expect active participation and collaboration. When we group us for assignments and all that, we've got to do the work. We don't overburden ourselves with assignments. No, I understand that we are all workers, you know. So, everything that will be requested for here is done reasonably. Okay. So, but we expect active participation. I also expect, like I said, engagement with task and discussion. When we're given work to do, please let's do. And reflection and application is very important because we'll be asking us how we have applied these things. We would also be asking us to revamp our social media. So what I mean is after every session, everybody must go to their LinkedIn, their Facebook, and share what you have learned. Oh, we had your orientation session today. You can do a screenshot of maybe one of the slides and put it online and then use it as a basis to talk. So we want to say, I'll be checking our online, platforms. I'll be checking every time after, at least everybody has like a week to do that after every session to see how we reflect. So reflection and application is key. After every session, everybody's encouraged to go to their social media and reflect. It's part of the things we check and grade, for getting certificates. And one thing is the reflection is not so much for me. The reflection is also part of giving yourself visibility. Imagine reflecting like that at least, every week or twice a month on this program. What you are doing is that you are making yourself more visible online. People began to notice. And if you're on this platform and you're not proud to say you're a teacher online, I think you have to review that. Because, yeah, some of us don't want people to know that we are teachers. I think at this stage, you have to let people know you're a teacher. The reason is because there are some clients you will not get online. See, many of us are great at what we do. While we are not getting so much financial gratification from it is because people don't know us. The people that know us are the people we are running away from. And those are people that might not really patronize us. But because of the few people that you don't want them to know, you are robbing yourself of millions of people that would have patronized you if they knew who you are and what you do. So this online reflection is not just for this program. So it's not just to give visibility to this program. No, those that would join this program would join the next cohort. You know, I also do this reflection on my platform. All right. However, this reflection even gives you an avenue to dust your social media account, you know, and start giving yourself, visibility, and I can tell us if we can be consistent with online visibility and we can begin to brand ourselves, I can tell us that we would also begin to get that gratification. Believe strongly that the teacher's reward is here on earth. And I believe strongly that you can teach and not envy anybody. I believe that so strongly. All right. So we're almost done. Okay. And, you know, this is 2026. Okay. So we are looking ahead, and this is not just the mentorship. This is a journey of identity, of growth, and excellence. So what I mean is, by the time we are done with this 13 weeks, this 13 weeks program, one of the things that we will realize is that we will have a different perspective of we are, and you'll become more confident and proud of who you are as an educator. You would also see that you would have come across a number of things, and you would have grown in this 13 weeks. And you would also have become a better person, an excellent educator. Okay. And, the essence of this is also to empower us. Information is power. And so the pieces of information that will be shared with us are pieces of information that would liberate and empower us. I'll be sharing tools with us. We will gain clarity. We would also have an idea of networks. We are meeting ourselves. We are knowing who we are, and then by default, by being on this platform, you already have access to my network. If I have schools, I have people that reach out to me. If I have schools that are looking for a particular position, I know who to share it with because what this mentorship program offers me is an avenue to know you, you know, much better than, I would have on a normal day. All right. And what are we doing here? We are shaping ourselves, okay, to be globally visible, not to be restricted to Nigeria, to be globally visible and to be future ready. This is very important. And the future is not 15 years. The future is 5 minutes to now. The future is 2 hours away from now because opportunities come like that. Opportunities don't necessarily show up tomorrow. Opportunities can show up in the next 3 seconds, in the next 5 minutes. That's the way opportunity. So opportunity is not in the distant future. Opportunity is in now. Okay, so when we say future ready, globally visible, we're talking about, shaping ourselves to be ready for opportunity. Okay, even the ones that come by the second. All right. All right. So I welcome everybody once again. I hope we've learned one or two things. I also hope we have an idea already of what the experience would be like, you know, um, you know, during this 13 um weeks. All right. I don't know if we've got questions. A number of other persons, like somebody sent a message that she's been trying to connect, but she's got issues with her devices. I hope that would have been sorted by the next contact. Do we have questions? Do we have questions? We've come to the end of the orientation.
Yes,
Yes,
I have a question.
yes, please go ahead.
I have a question. Number one is that
Yes, please go ahead. Your voice is breaking. Maybe you should type your question. Your voice is breaking. Uh, your voice is breaking, Rukaya. Your voice is breaking. Maybe you should. I think your signal is poor. Maybe you should type your question.
The days and particular time that will be converging. And also, I also, yes, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, it's better now. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I probably the network. I said I want to ask. uh,
We can't hear you anymore. I think our network. Network. Rukayat, we can't hear you anymore. Could you type your question? Could you type your question, Rukayat? Oh, okay, we've lost she's out. All right, any other questions? So we've come to the end of the orientation. Any other question? The link to the recorded session will be uploaded just as soon as we wrap this up. Do we have questions? Do we have questions? Okay.
Yes,
So
I have a question.
yes, please go ahead. Go ahead, please.
When I was I had been in and checked out. Or when I was in, the last time I bumped in trying to shuttle in, I heard you talking about online teaching as module 6. And I want to say, sir, that what about all this online recruiting company that recruit people to teach, like Philo, is it Preply or whatever? All these online apps or companies that they will say, come and teach for us, and you send your CV, they give you student. Like I had tried one of them at one point. I'm beginning to wonder that those things don't work. But I hear people say, they are making money from it. But me, I believe in personal engagement. Someone referring me and I'm teaching someone online. Now, what I hope we'll be able to polish our stuff properly, not just I don't know, but my question specifically is about the practicality of that session. Because some
Okay.
of us, well, let me speak for myself. I have online students,
Okay.
but I have lost some online students because Nigerian factor and my lack of knowledge. Now, I'm a film person. I
Okay.
know that if I want to shoot, I should not have poor light. I
Mm,
know if I want to shoot, I should not have poor sound. If I want
mm,
my movie outcome to be better. But this was me, that I have this knowledge. I went to get a class. I got a US student, and I was always doing my class in darkness.
mm,
In fact, the time zone really affected me that I was always doing the class late at night after
mm,
doing my 9 to 5. And
mm,
I remember, so there was particular day I slept in the class. I lost my online work. Now,
mm.
my question now is for people that have been doing this before, and God's
Okay.
mercy had even brought some offer back to the table. How do you help us to standardize our online Is this training, is this module going to help that? Is it just going to be informative, or is it going to be um directive, such a way that it will put us on the pedestal of success? Not like just tell us, because I have a lot of people that teaches this online thing. They is just information. Tell you, you don't use this one, use that one, you this, you that. It's always informative. You will still have to go and navigate. You still have to go and struggle. You still have to go and find your footing in the storms. It's always informative. But I hope this time around it will be clearly, distinctively directive, telling
Okay.
you, not like, I'm not saying I want to be dummy.
Yes, yes,
I'm not
yes,
saying
sir.
I don't want to use my brain. I'm not saying I don't want to use my brain. I know our leaders, our guys, we say to use your, you should also think ahead. They want to challenge our brain. I agree, sir. I agree. But in Nigeria, we find ourselves now, sir. Just like you were saying about subscriptions, you will need to be earning some streams of income before you can be doing try and error.
Mm,
Like LinkedIn, sir. Let me
mm.
tell you about LinkedIn. Maybe you can help me to maximize my money that I've entered LinkedIn. I
Or,
went to subscribe to LinkedIn. I did not know that I subscribed to LinkedIn. I didn't
mm.
plan to. I subscribe yearly, 80,000. I did not, in fact, I tried, I think I cancelled. The thing didn't cancel. That was how, when I was planning to rent my house, I decided that GT was taking some little changes for my money. I will not put my money in GT. That I will take my own rent money out of GT. And you know what rent looks like in Ibadan, sir? And
Mm-hmm.
put it in my OPay account. That
Mm.
this money, before GT will spoil it for me, I've forgotten that my OPay account is the one that is inside that LinkedIn that has been already, that the pre-order is already on it. So LinkedIn was waiting for the day that I will have 80K or more than 80K to remove the money. So in the desperation of running from GT Bank, I packed my whole money over a half a million plus and threw it in my OPay because my OPay is tier 3 and I could carry that kind of money. I threw it there. In the following morning, as I woke up to see LinkedIn telling me, thank you for your money has been solved. 80,000. 80,000. I wrote to LinkedIn, I wrote to Google Play. I said, no, refund, refund. I fought it. To long story cut short, they told me that the refund policy, I should go and read it, that I cannot get a refund. Now, sir, I have LinkedIn, subscribed, forcefully subscribed. I did not pass, I did not want it. But how will I now maximize that 80K? Because I'm still waiting that in this 1 year, that LinkedIn must produce more than 80K. Because I thought I cannot put 80K here. And in 1 year, I will not get more than 80K. No, I
Mm,
won't take
mm,
it. So
mm.
that's my own. That's my own. So all these platforms you're mentioning, if we say we want to subscribe and put money there, even though the money is not flowing, how do we guarantee a return on investment, ROI, on
Okay.
all these platforms?
Okay. Thank you so much. I wish you had actually been in all through, and I understand that you had to shorten between two meetings, and that's quite understandable. When I got to
Okay, sir.
this point, I said a number of things, and those on this platform can testify, can bear me witness. Okay, so let me say this. By God's grace, for those that attended Cohort 1, and then for you, I mean, for those that are here now, I can tell you that this is practical. And that's why at the beginning I said this mentorship is not because anybody feels they are better than others. No, this mentorship is just coming from sharing my experience with educators, those who care to learn. And I'll give an example. Well, for you, your LinkedIn subscription is annually. My own LinkedIn subscription is every 3 months. So it just depends on what you authorize them to do. And I understand, I get it that, I'll use LinkedIn as an example. I get it that LinkedIn deducted 80,000 from you, but that is also where we need to understand the usefulness of platforms and the relevance of subscription. So let me give an example. Um, LinkedIn subscription is actually really not as important. I would even encourage people to subscribe to Twitter and Instagram. I mean, the blue tick on Twitter and Instagram than to do LinkedIn subscription. And I'll tell you why. I have a LinkedIn subscription. Okay. They deducted for 3 months. So they always do, it's always quarterly. That's the way my own works. Now, one of the things I've done with all of my subscriptions, so let me give an example. I would list a few of my subscriptions. I have LinkedIn subscription once every 3 months. I have Zoom subscription every month. I don't do annual for all of my subscriptions. They are monthly, and I have my reason for that. I have LinkedIn subscription once every 3 months. I have Zoom subscription every month. I have Google subscription because for my Gmail, I get one, I get one, one, I get, is it unlimited access or something every month for my Gmail? And I've got my reasons. It's because I do online classes, I record my sessions, and I do all of that. So I need space, for storage and all that. So I have that every month. I have Google Meet. I'm just trying to list. One of the things I did is I have an account for my subscription. That account for subscription, the money that enters it are my subscription money because there are different dates on my calendar. Zoom has a date, Gmail has a date, LinkedIn has a date, and also so there are dates. So the way I control my subscription is I have an account for it. I have an ATM card, an account. It's only for subscription. I don't keep money there. The money that goes in there is the money for subscription. So when I'm ready to subscribe, my Zoom subscription is every month. I don't have a choice. My Gmail is every month. I don't have a choice. My LinkedIn, I can deactivate when I want, but it's once every 3 months. Okay. Now, what am I trying to say? So how do I regulate not losing money anyhow? I have designated accounts. I don't want to mention the number of accounts, like at least I have, more than 2 accounts. Let me put it that way. Me, I don't even use OPay. I don't. I don't. It's just personal. I don't. Okay. I don't use OPay. Um, Rukaya wants me to mention the purpose. I wish that, everybody we can start together and so that, but I'm going to repeat some of the things I said. Now, why do I do my Zoom subscription? I do Zoom subscription because I have students I teach outside the country, and for Zoom, I can record my sessions. I can have a session for 12 hours, for 24 hours. There will be no break. Why? Because my Zoom subscription is every month. Okay. And I can record the session. I can also integrate when you have a Zoom active subscription, you can integrate AI. You can integrate several educational apps into Zoom. So that's one of the reasons why I have my own Zoom subscription. So these are things we will talk about when we get to online teaching. I don't want to really talk about all of that so that we don't get to repeat ourselves. But I can assure us that this is practical. Let me also say this. I'm aware of those online platforms. I can mention them. I can also tell us that so what I'm about to say will sound very strange to us, but I'm trusting God that, when we all get to that level, like when God helps us, we will understand what I'm saying. See, there's a point that we can get to and educate us, and you won't be interested in all those online platforms anymore. I'll tell you why. It's because the online platforms regulate how much you get. So I'll give you an example. If you are on native camp, if you enter native camp today, and it's been very difficult for Nigerian teachers to get into native camp, I'll tell you why. It's been difficult. All of the people that have been trying recently, they've just had to be trying again in 6 months. The reason is because Nigerians, Africans have given a bad image on these platforms. So that's why that it's now very difficult to get into this platform. They will check your profile. If you don't have an impressive profile, you won't enter this platform. So that's also why we would also be talking about professional development. Because why it is difficult for many educators, especially in Nigeria, in Africa, to get into this platform is because when they check you up online, when you share your bio with them, your CV is just blank. Everything you have on your CV is not relevant to them. They don't know your university for first degree. They don't know you know your university for second degree. Who knows UI? Who knows OAU? I'm saying these universities are popular in Nigeria, even outside Nigeria. How much of these universities? So it means that if we want to thrive on these platforms and get into these platforms, we need certifications that they recognize. Then Nigerians have also given a bad image. You mentioned these things. Why would you be doing an online class and the light goes off? You are collecting, you want to collect money from a foreigner. You want a foreigner to pay you $25 per hour. If you are new on native camp and you are quoting 30,000 per hour, nobody will take you because you are new. The people that are earning $25 per hour, $20 per hour, $15 per hour on native camp are educators that have been on native camp for years. So they're already known. If you get into native camp today, I always advise people, if you get into native camp today, your charge should not be more than $10. If you want to rise quickly, do five, seven, $10, so that at least that would attract people to you. When people now know you, you can now start increasing your charge. But why would you be doing an online? You want a white man to pay you the book 3 hours trial, 4 hours, and then you are teaching, and all of a sudden light goes off, and the child is saying, "Hello, hello, are you there?" And you think these people will come back. They will not come back. Your internet goes off, or you are teaching and your internet is showing that your bandwidth is low, and they will come. They will nobody. I won't even pay for that. And that is what Nigerians have done. Okay, that 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 has that has given us like a bad name. So now they are not allowing African teachers anymore. The ones that are able to come in are more teachers from South Africa, Southern Africa generally. But hardly will you find Nigerians on those platforms. But that's not even the issue. If we can work on those things, some of us can be able to get in. Okay, it will take a lot, but we can get in. But a time even comes in your career as an educator when you can't even really be on those platforms anymore. I'll tell you why. Because they can't match your rate anymore. Because prices are regulated on those platforms. Okay, so you can't be teaching 1 hour for $10 anymore. There are things about to stop, because I can't be wasting time anymore. Why? Because my own personal online has by God's grace has grown. Before you left us, a few minutes ago, before you came back, I was sharing that by God's grace, I've made nothing less than 2.4 million in 1 month from online. Okay. I would also share this information with us. One single client in the UK has paid me 1,025,000 naira. One single client. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is that there's a kind of career growth we experience, and this online platform, we won't even be running after them anymore. Why? Because you've so much invested in yourself that you can't afford for somebody to be regulating how much you earn per hour. And so you will just have to be fully in charge of what you earn. That's what I'm trying to say. So it's in two parts. It's in two parts, and we will be very practical. I have two apartments. I have an apartment in two different states, and I pay annually for each of these apartments. And these apartments are apartments. So imagine I'm paying rent twice every year. A particular apartment that I have in another city, I don't want to mention names. I only sleep in that apartment twice every month. Twice every month. I think it's only 1 month or 2 months that I'll probably slept fully. But on a normal day in a year, I probably only guess. I just get to visit the apartment and pass the weekend there. Just 2 weekends every month. There was a time somebody was speaking with me and the person said, why are you, like, why? Like, you can be staying in a hotel whenever you go to this city. And I said, okay, I've heard. Like, I have to tell us this, okay? I'm currently so I have two apartments in two cities. in Nigeria. I'm currently in one of the apartments, and in each of the apartments, I enjoy 24 hours power supply. Is money. You have to pay for some of these things. So I'm currently having this session with us. I can tell us that I have not buy fuel into generator all through all through 2025. I can tell us that I never bought a liter of petrol inside generator all through 2025. So I have not bought a liter of petrol inside generator in nothing less than 1 year. Why? Because by God's grace, I was able to pay for, like, I got apartment where I could enjoy 24 hours power supply. Is it expensive? Yes. But am I getting money for value for money? Yes. So when I am in one city, by God's grace, I enjoy 24/7 power supply. When I am in the other city, I enjoy the same thing. So nothing changes. So it doesn't affect, it doesn't affect my online. It doesn't. Okay. Let me also say this. I'm saying this in these things intentionally. So that's why I said the uniqueness of this whole thing are practical instances. Okay. Let me also share this with us. I changed my laptop this month. Now, the previous laptop I'm using, I want to sell it now. I changed my laptop because I needed another specification and I needed something else and I had to change it. So the laptop I use now is way better than my previous laptop. If God is not providing money, and when I bought this laptop I'm currently using, my latest, I have two laptops. I've not even sold the previous. I want to sell it. I just kept it somewhere in my apartment. I want to sell because then there's nothing it's doing. It's just there. Okay. I used to have three laptops. All right. I used to have three laptops. Now I have two. Okay. I want to sell this second one now so that's just one. I'm not saying these things, and I hope we are not hearing what I am not saying so that this does not come across as being ostentatious. No. I'm just trying to tell us that there's money. But if you want, I was sharing before you came in again, I was sharing that my 1 hour, if you're in Nigeria, my 1 hour is 25,000 naira. My 1 hour. Somebody still reached out to me and said, "Oh, I want my child for SAT. How much do you charge per hour?" The person is in Nigeria. And I said 25,000 for 60 minutes. And the person said, "Ah, wow, it's too expensive. Oh, okay, I actually have two kids. You will teach them at the same time. What can you do?" And I looked at the person and said, "Well, if you want me to teach two of your kids at the same time, that's 50,000 naira. But because it's two at the same time, I'll give you for 40,000 for 60 minutes." If I show us some of the videos that I used to teach, you will know why, by God's grace, it's been difficult for any one of them to say no when I say it's 25,000 per hour. Because by the grace of God, God has helped me to invest as I move from one place to another by God's grace, as I get everything from every system. I do trainings. I also pay for trainings. I shared with those in cohort one. I told them that I recently paid 60,000 naira. I have an NGO, I have an NGO, and I saw someone who does, NGO mentorship like this, and it's 60,000 naira. I paid. Ideally, I should say, why now? Like, why now? I've been running NGO for the past how many years? I do conferences. We are preparing for the third edition of Eduvoros 3.0 and all of that. I should say, but I paid 60,000 naira. I paid. So I'm still going through another grant writing training now with another organization now. That one is different from the 60,000 I paid you because you have to constantly. And let me tell us why we don't most times invest in our online teaching is also because we have not placed a premium. Why can I insist on 25,000 per hour? It's because I know by God's grace that the investment that has been made, this is electricity. This is electricity. This is not NEPA. Okay. But how, by God's grace, was this possible? Because I paid for accommodation in, by God's grace, the right environment. Expensive, yes. If I tell you how much, you two will say, that's a lot. Okay? Expensive, but good. I'm getting value. So that's why that if I say, oh, my 1 hour is 25,000, if you're not ready to pay, I don't beg you. I don't. I just, because another thing is sometimes you have to make that time open so that correct clients will take it than to now, because you want money, to now just take any amount. By the time correct clients come, your time is full. And by experience, I've realized that it is those people that you don't charge. They are the ones that stress you the most. They are the ones that stress you the most. I'll give an example. I don't mean example of those that stress you. I'm just saying, I have a client. The last payment she made for January was a little above 600,000. Online teaching, 600,000. The 600,000 she paid for January, 600 and I think 650. This no 645. It shall no more than 650, and it's no less than 640,000. I can tell you, I have not taught 1 hour, and she's not demanding her money back. I'll spend the money. I'll tell you why. And I have to be honest with us. I'll tell you why. It is because of value. I was meant to teach the child. The child is in a boarding school in another country. And for some reasons, she made a mistake. And so these are people I teach. She made a mistake. The child didn't have earpods. And so now she has to buy earpods and send it, to the child. The child is in a boarding school in another country. The woman is in the UK. Okay, so the child is in a boarding school in an African country elsewhere outside of the UK. Because she didn't get an airport, the child didn't travel with an airport. We've not been able to have a class that we should have started in January because the payment was for January. We've not had one single class. She's not demanding for money back. She's even the one telling me, I'm even okay. I told her that, oh, this. So she's even the one telling me that no, 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 don't bother, please. Because I always have a refund policy. So that is why my clients and new clients are comfortable with advance payment. Because there are systems you must build by God's grace. If our desire by God's grace is to succeed by God's grace, so there are systems we must build. And it's systems many times by God's grace that bring success. So I'm not sharing with us experiences I have not had. Okay, so that's why I'm saying that these are practical, and I can bet it with us. This is not theory. This is not theory. I hope I've answered your question, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You've
Oh,
answered to details, sir.
all right, all right. Thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, sir.
You're welcome, sir. You're welcome. All right, so after going through 6 modules, the last would be this educator spotlight.
Sorry, sir.
Last,
I was
yes.
waiting for you to. I'm sorry to interrupt. I was waiting for you to finish so that I
Okay.
can take excuse again.
No, 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 it's fine. It's fine, please. It's
And
fine. We are even
and then
we are
on the
even
final note,
okay.
okay.
We are even done. It was questions that, yeah.
Hello,
So
sir.
yes, please go ahead.
Hello, sir.
I can hear you. Please go ahead.
I said on the final note, I would like to sign out, and
It's
then I will chat you privately
it's fine. It's
on
fine, sir.
something, sir.
It's fine, sir. It's fine, sir.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. You're welcome, sir. All right. So I think I've answered the question that Ms. Rukayat asked about the days that will be converging. So it will be converging first and third Saturday of every month. Um, yes, then this session is also recorded. So there's really no need to go over the slides again. Um, it's recorded. I'll be sharing the link of the recording as soon as once the meeting ends, because I'd have to I'd have to download it and share with us. All right. So in the absence of further questions, I think we will have to call it a night. Today I hope this has been an eye opener. I hope that this has made us forward looking, and I hope that this has increased our expectation. All right. So, are there still questions? Are there still questions? Okay, so in the absence of questions, um, would have to call it a day. So thank you for being part of the orientation. We spent, more than an hour. That's like 2 hours already. Um, thank you for thank you for being part of this orientation. I'll see us first week. That should be next week, Saturday. That's first week of February. And first week of February, we are starting with module 1, which is Foundations of an Educator. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.